Hey, welcome back to another episode. Today, we're actually going to talk about authenticity. I thought it was such a great topic for us to share. And I know I have learned so much about it over the course of the last several years and healing myself from the trauma that I had over my life and the anxiety and the panic attacks. And so I just want to say, forgive my voice this morning. I this weekend spent it getting my son-in-law home from the hospital. And so I have just been a mom and grandma on the go all weekend. And so hopefully this warm coffee will help open up the airway a little, but we're going to still get this podcast going. All right. So something that I want you to know is, what does being an authentic person mean? So, put simply, authenticity means that you're true to your own personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act otherwise. You're honest with yourself and with others, and you take responsibility for your mistakes, your values, ideals, and actions that align. An example, a good example of authenticity is self expression, which means expressing your feelings, personality, and opinions through your words and the choices that you make. Self expression ensures you make decisions and a company you fully support or something that you're passionate about because it aligns and they align with your belief system. I think that's so important to understand that it really is so important to align with it. And it's not the same as honesty, consistency, or being real. Authenticity is acting according to one's true self and behaving congruently with values and personality. And it's largely subjective. We feel it only when our appraisal of a situation justifies it. And and I think that's so important for people to know. Um, when you say someone is authentic people instill a sense of trust. And so if you feel like there's people that like you can trust because they're being true to who they are, you trust what they say and do, it's based on how they really think and feel. It's the contrast in someone acting from a uh, disingenuous place might appear unnatural. So like if they're not being genuine and you can feel that, like it's because they're not being true to who they are. They're not being natural with the person that they're meant to be. They're insecure or they're dishonest. But it isn't always like clearly laid out too. You should know it's not clear cut. I want to know a little bit, I want to talk a little bit about what the Bible says about it. So regardless of authenticity, it's a big deal to Jesus. In the 12th chapter of Luke, he said that you can't keep your true self hidden forever. Before long, you'll be exposed. You can't hide behind a religious mask forever. Sooner or later, the mask will slip and your true face will be known. I think it's so important to just take this for a minute and listen to what Jesus is telling us. He's saying that the masks that we wear aren't serving our journey or anyone around us. They're not serving our internal life that we're going to live forever with Him. And so, if you are caught in a religious mask or a just a mask in general, I know from personal experience, I told people that I used to wear a mask every single day of my life for 40 years. From the time I was 3 years old until I was 40 years old, I wore this mask. And I know that sounds really crazy to some of you, but I wasn't being true to myself. I had hidden a lot of things and didn't talk about a lot of things and had been putting on this fake persona of who I was as an individual out of fear and out of doubt and out of worry that people wouldn't believe me and my truth. And even at 40 years old, I still had that mask on for about another couple of years. um it wasn't until 2021 that I really took that mask off and threw it in the garbage, and I realized it wasn't doing me any good, and I realized I had several masks on. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, but I had several masks because some people would see me differently than others. And so I wore a mask for everyone, though. I never peeled it off even to go to sleep. Like, not exaggerating, I slept in that thing. And so it's just so important to understand that authenticity is, it molds us and shapes us into the person that Jesus designed us to become. All right. So the next thing is, that I want to talk about is, how do you show it? Um, to act in an authentic way, we should focus on being present, trusting our intuition, and expressing our honest thoughts, being vulnerable when necessary. I think that when we're in conversations with people, we're worried how they're going to respond and how they're going to act, or what's how we're going to make them feel, because we're in a society where we think that what we say and do is going to impact someone else's feelings, because most people allow it to. But in reality is, we're all in control of our feelings and our emotions, and that's something that we have to figure out. For each person individually needs to understand that self-control is necessary to become an authentic person. And so, um, if somebody is making you feel something, you need to check yourself, because that's not being authentic. That's actually projecting yourself onto them. And it's like almost like a guilt trip. But you need to realize that you're in control of your feelings. No one can tell you how to feel, and no one can make you feel. You're in charge of that. And so it's something, it's inner work that we have to do on ourselves. And really work on that authenticity requires you to have a good self-image. And so we're going to talk in another episode this week about self-image. So being authentic means acting in alignment with your inner values and character, rather than allowing your adaptive self the behavior drive to fit in with it. Just what I just said. It's really hard to progress in things or to achieve things with a mask on, and then at the end of the day be happy with what you're doing, or be emotionally satisfied, and spiritually satisfied, let's be honest. And then your body is going to feel that, even if you are pretending to. Just so you know, you can't pretend to be authentic. It's something that's just, it's not a fake it till you make it kind of thing. I don't believe in that fake it till you make it crap. I always say faith it until you make it. Have faith in knowing that it's already done, and that you're already going to accomplish it. You're just now doing the steps that it takes to get that accomplishment to happen. But you already know that if God planted it in your heart, if you can smell it, see it, taste it, touch it, and hold it, and desire it, and feel it, and emotionally see it, and know, and it's come to your mind, and it's a thought, and you've emotionalized it, now it's obtainable. And so that's part of the authenticity, is you choosing to do things when someone else says, oh, you shouldn't do that, that's not for you, oh, that's not a career that you should take, oh, that's not something you should eat, oh, that's not something you should buy. Instead, you're being authentic to yourself, and you're choosing regardless of their opinion. The advantage of being authentic is the genuine people embody qualities and live in a way that reflects their inner truth. They embrace it not as a fleeting trend, but as a way of life. They bring numerous benefits to their mental health too. Um, Mental health is massive. Could you imagine not having mental health, um, and not having your mental health in check, and then really struggling with your authenticity? I went through that. That's why I wore the mask, was because I didn't want people to see that I had the mental health stuff going on. I didn't want them to see that I was an alcoholic. I didn't want them to see that I was a domestic violence survivor and that I was being abused by my spouse. I didn't want them to know that I had been molested as a child and raped as an adult multiple times by different people. I didn't want them to see that I had all these hidden fears and doubts about myself, that I had a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. I really wore a lot of masks with a lot of people. When I finally started telling my story several years ago, I had a lot of people say, I never knew those things about you. I actually had people tell me I was lying just to get attention. I had people that literally walked out of my circle because they didn't want to remove themselves from the abusers that I've had. I get it. Like, everybody's open to their own choices and their opinions, and so I never let any of that bother me at all, because I knew that those people who were walking out, I would eventually remove them anyways. And so it was a blessing every time something that I didn't know how to handle or I didn't know what to do, I would just ask God to just take care of it, and He would. If things would naturally transpire and unfold to allow that healing work to begin. And so, um, I just, it, it's just such a blessing to see where, it's gone and like where it's at. And I'm just so grateful. But if you're not being authentic, people around you are going to know too. Um, they can tell when someone's faking it, and they can tell when someone's not being real. And I think that's why I think it's just so important. And not that it matters that they can tell, but imagine if you're in a room and you're offering advice to people and you're training them or you're coaching them, and you're not being truthful to who you are and you're not being authentic, and then you're teaching these people, it's a vibe. I don't know if you know what that means, but what I mean by that is energy matches energy. So if you're not being authentic, it's going to, either those people who are being authentic, it's going to rub them the wrong way, and they're going to notice your lack of authenticity. And you may not get the same, responses or reaction that you would with somebody who isn't being authentic. But those people who aren't being authentic, they're going to latch on to you not being authentic and think that it's okay for them to do the same. And so you're going to create this ripple effect of a bunch of people wearing masks, a bunch of people faking it until they make it. And what happens with that is it's gonna fall apart. Whether people understand that or not, it's going to fall apart. And the reason why it's going to fall apart is because you can only go so far with that mentality. You can only go so far mentally, physically with that behavior. And because people catch on and people love people who are authentic and genuine. I'm not going to deny that. And they crave it almost, because we live in a society that's so instantaneous, in a society that's just so like wham bam, like right now, that we don't get a lot of authenticity. We get a lot of people that are putting on a script, putting on a show, and they think it's cute, to act it out and not be genuinely themselves. And unfortunately, that leads a lot of people to think that they're not good enough or that they can't meet that bar as well. So then they give up trying to do things. They give up on their dreams. They see other people as an example sometimes as to what they can do. But that's part of the growing and being authentic, is sometimes when you don't have authenticity, you're looking for that example in other people. And if they're not genuinely offering it, then you could be steered the wrong way. So the best advice I can give for that is sit down and decide what qualities are special about you that you want to share with other people that authentically make you you, and then start sharing those qualities and start adhering to those qualities, regardless of what society says, regardless of what your parents say, regardless of what your best friend says. Sit down and start practicing those habits and develop a behavior plan, so for yourself, in a way where like, if I start acting unauthentic, I need to call myself out, because somebody who's authentic does that. They hold themselves to a higher level, and they they give themselves the tools they need to change, and they don't just make excuses. They make a decision that they want this for themselves and for others, because what you don't understand is that your authenticity is actually a ripple effect. So when you're authentic, you're being true to who you are, and you're loving the things that you love, and you're literally being true to who you are, it's going to align and naturally attract more people. And so I think it's just so, so important. They say that if you want to start being authentic and you want to start being like this higher level of yourself, you should dress that part so you can get, the outfits that make you feel good and give you confidence. Um, you can find, those things that just really make you feel good. A new pair of shoes, like, you'd be amazed what a new pair of shoes will do. You'd be amazed what a new top or a new pair of pants will do. And a new pair of jeans, or a new pair of cute leggings, or a nice outfits, like so many things, a cute dress, like You would be amazed. Even at like a cute little shawl or pullover cami or jacket, like it doesn't matter. Like, but the point is that what happens is the outer changes. So then once the outer part of yourself begins to change because you're feeling confident in the clothes and how you're dressing and how you're doing your hair and like all the things, if you're put on makeup, like you're feeling confident in that, pretty soon your inner self feels confident. And it's like I said, a ripple effect. But for you, it doesn't just work for you. This outfit and like what I'm talking about, like how you can dress the part, actually, other people see that too. Other people see that as you care for yourself. Other people see that as you loving yourself more. A lot of people look from the outside in, and really we want to be looking from the inside out, right? But it's with when we look from the outside in, we've got to learn how to switch that so that we can start looking from the inside. But it begins with outside, and so dress the part. What kind of, outfits would make you feel good? What kind of clothing makes you feel good? Do you have a certain brand or a certain textures that you like, materials? And so you need to think about those things. And I know that sounds so silly to some of you, but it's so incredible how authenticity can really play a role in that. The other thing is your verbiage. Do you feel confident when you speak? Are you somebody who's more emotionalized, or somebody who internalizes things? Um, are you extrovert, introvert? Like those things can make a difference, but everybody can express themselves, whether you're an extrovert or an introvert. It's just a matter of being authentically you. If you're an introvert and you know that that is like through and through who you are, don't try to be an extrovert. Be true to who you are, be authentic, and you'll find ways that are going to create conversations. You'll find ways that are going to help you grow in areas by being true to yourself. If you're an extrovert, do not try to be an introvert. You will explode. You will spontaneously combust. You just be true to who you are. If you're that person who you love talking, you love like really loud clothing, and you just love being able to just meet new people and like all these things, then go be that person. Don't let anybody tell you not to be. That's part of being authentic. The other thing is, if you're like me and you're a little bit of both, then when you know that it's the time for you that you're feeling that being introverted, go be that person. Like, be intuitive to who you are in this moment, and be authentic to that person in the moment. And then here's the other thing about authenticity: we're going to change, we're going to grow, we're going to learn things that we didn't have knowledge of prior to, that are going to make some of the things that we believe or that we do change. That's just part of evolution and part of like us evolving, right? Part of us evolving into who we are. And so it's so important to be authentic to you and to others. And if there's areas of you, even if it's authentic, that need work, like, what I mean by being authentic doesn't mean to go be a butthole to people. It doesn't mean to go be a jerk and be mean and like say it how it is and like just, cuss people out because you're authentically you. No, 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 no. Being authentic requires a level of awareness that when it's the right time to speak and when it's not. When it's the right time to just listen. And you also are aware of what you're saying, because your voice and your words have power. You're aware of your thoughts. You're aware of your subconscious mind and what it's thinking. And you're working on bettering yourself each day. You're working on improving who you are, not for everybody else, but for you, for you, so that you can be true to your desires, so you can be true to your goals, so you can be true to your life and to who you are. And you're intuitively following that, and you love the idea, and nobody can change that idea of who you are. Nobody can impact that. Like, you love that. I say most people who are like pushy or who can say things that are vulgar or that they think they're going to get a rise out of people, right? They think they're being cute or funny. Those people aren't being authentic to themselves. Like, let's just be transparent. They're not being authentic to themselves. They're not being truthful with their identity and who they are. And most of the time, they're afraid to even try to change because change would require them to eliminate most of who they are as an individual, like most of their behavior patterns that are crappy, most of the words that and thoughts that they say to other people or themselves. It would require them to completely rewire themselves, just like I have done for the last 5 years. It's not impossible. They just don't believe it's possible, or they don't want it because they quote unquote like who they are. And that's fine. I won't find myself in the same circles as those people. However, that's fine. People, that's the beauty of this world, is that we all have free will. And so with me, and my free will, I am choosing to be the most authentic self and helping other people become their most authentic self. And in the end, I know that it's going to be such a blessing and such a service to our world, to so many people around us. And so, um, I hope that you today go out and just decide what makes you be authentically you. And then you embrace that and you go share that with the world. And then I would love to hear all about it. I hope this helps, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing day.